So ChatGPT built 6 school sites for me. This event page answers a parent's questions in seconds. This revision file structures an entire novel, and this private planner looks unlike anything else I've ever used. And every one contains something that I don't like. Now for me, that's the interesting part in creating with AI. Not just what it can build, but what a polished interface can make us fail to notice. I've tested every site against 3 things. Can somebody find what they need quickly? Can one person realistically keep it accurate? And does the information belong there at all? Now I'm going to show you what worked, what didn't, and what each build taught me once I stopped admiring the design. So the first thing I want to show you is how to actually access ChatGPT Sites. So what we've got in front of you on the screen, this is my desktop application open, and I am making use of the new browser in-app feature, and you can see one of the sites that I have made there on the right hand side. Now in order to get to this, first and foremost, what you're going to do, along your left panel you will see Sites. So click into Sites and it comes up, and this is where it has all of your stored made sites. So all the different ones, all the 6 that I've made are here, and the one that I made previously in the last video is also down here. And there's a couple of key points to take note. First of all, the shared. And this is quite important, depending on what you make and who you're making it for and the age appropriateness. We're not necessarily here to talk about that in this video, but I do want you to be aware of when you're using this in terms of what's going into it from a data protection and all these different things we'll mention later on. But you can obviously click into it. You can see where it's going. Anyone on the internet, just me, who's the owner, all these different things that come into it. Click the link to share, obviously comes back to the same thing, and then obviously you can go into edit, analytics and settings from there. So when you go into the settings for this one, you can see the domain URL. Obviously then anything else that goes into it is there as well. In order to access this, we've obviously got our new panels here at the top. We've got ChatGPT on the side here. We're going to click on work. We're not interested in working necessarily in any projects for this one. And what you do is you click on the $sign and then you start typing sites. And then what I do is I press tab and it's there for me. So that gives it the instruction of obviously that it's going to make a site. And then we go on to the prompt part. And this is what I'm going to show you next. So what you can see now is where I started. So accidentally click the sites thing and then press return. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to add the photos in. I wanted to make a bespoke planner for me, what I enjoy, my themes. And that's one of the nice things that I think you can actually do with this. So you can see where I started asking it for some imagery. And obviously then what it came up with and what it does for most is this kind of prototype image, which I absolutely loved. Now, as I continue down, there were iterations. And what you're going to find with this as you go through it is there's going to be iterations about obviously what we wanted in there. And then I was talking to it about obviously persistent memory. I wanted it to be something that was editable, something that I could use consistently, because what I'd made originally was a prototype. So I'm just going to flick through these very, very quickly, but just to show the actual iterations and time I'd spent going through it and where we came to. So what I did is once I got to the point where I was happy with the design of the site is I asked ChatGPT to reverse engineer the processes to form a master prompt for me, and that is what you see on the screen. So what I've then done is I've used these prompts to generate the components that go into the sites that you're going to see in the rest of the video. These are available to you on a Google document in the description below. Now, what I did is I've kind of got 2 components to this. I start off with the kind of intro prompt, and some people have already used that because I wrote about it in a blog at the start of the week, and the outcome they showed was still really, really good. I'd recommend starting with that and then iterate through to get to a point where you're happy and you've got control over. You could then compare it against these master prompts, your choice, or go straight into the master prompt and just add in the details that you want and see how the outcome is. Either way, Google document in the description, easy access for you to get hold of. So what you can see now is just one of the sites. This isn't the planner I've made. And as you saw, just to get into it, I needed to give it my personal ChatGPT information, because the way this is set up is this is a private site. It's not on everyone's site. So some of the differences, you can't pick and choose who gets access to it at this moment. I think it's either or. So it's either personal to me, you need to ChatGPT login, that's mine, or it's for everyone. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if there's something else we can do about this, but it's something to be mindful of if you're building things and who has access to the link, as with everything about protection and data protection and all these things. Now, this is what it would look like on the web. And for me, if I'm using it, I might be using it as a web interface, looking at the screen like this, seeing the bigger picture. However, for some of the things we're going to show you as we go through this, the students and parents and teachers potentially who are going to be using it and accessing it won't be doing it necessarily through the screen like this all the time. They're going to be doing it using this. So I want to see and test what these sites look like when you open them up on the phone and whether they have the impact and desired effect that we want them to. Okay, so still having to log in to ChatGPT on my phone, which is great. So first thing we note is then the security for personal ones still hold up. So that's good. Okay, we're in. Batman. Nice. Okay, so first things first, it could be really useful. Being able to see the lessons for the day, just open up your phone, boom, right, this is what we're doing, or add certain things in on the go. For me, I like that. Digital, maybe some people are still liking the writing thing, and that's fine, but that for me has a really good use just as a snapshot to see. What was the last thing that was just there in terms of just notes? Just going back and forward. Things to get done, quick notes, ideas, reminders, students to check in. Right, here's a caveat for you. Quick notes, students to check in with. No. I'm not going to be writing student names down in this, even though I can say, look, it's only accessible to me and all these different types of things. Just for good practice, never ever, for anything you're running, put student details in for anything like this, even your own, anything else like that. So just something to be mindful of there. You can take that out in the design. What else do we have? So we know we should see the daily planner. And then from there, we should be able to see the week plan. There we go. It doesn't fit in, but obviously we need to be able to see things. We can always move over. That's pretty easy. That looks nice. Okay, the Spider-Man at the bottom, we could do something with that, but not a problem. And then key dates for the term, add things in. Yeah, I mean, that for me works really, really nicely. Just as a simplistic planner, you might find that you'd probably have it open on your iPad. You might have it maybe open on your laptop, so it is there bigger. But as a check-in and being able to do stuff, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I like the design of it. Happy with that as well. Okay, North Bridge After Dark, the next one. So this one was the kind of event planner. So it's the ability to get, say, if you've got an event coming up at school and you just want something you can send out to parents pretty quick to help them with the information and places to go and get things, then this is that. Difference in colour, though you can still see the similarity in the design. 84 days to go, and then just information about it. I mean, it's quite a lot. It's big enough. In scrolling, it is literally quite a long scroll to go through here, but the information is all there. I don't know how easy it is to get to like the other parts, as in navigate through it. And you're scrolling around a little bit. But let's see if we go to the next parts. Oh, I don't know. So don't know what's out. It's good in terms of it's hooked it up to a Google Maps part. So in terms of directions, if you have parents or visitors coming from somewhere else, you could connect it live to wherever your Google Maps is. So that's pretty cool. This North Bridge is just obviously taken from whatever OpenAI's found when I built this. And the calendar. So you can add the save the date part to it as well. Those things are live, those work. So if you were creating something for an event, you could send it out to parents and just they can obviously open it on their phone and have these things added to calendar and obviously get directions. If you click on the menu side at the top, yeah, you can start to navigate through this a bit better. It's vibrant to green, as it were. But for me, the design side of it, yeah, you know, the information is there, you're scrolling through and parents can get to it. But the key things like directionality use, calendar, add it to the calendar for them to be as a reminder. Yeah, I kind of like that. It wasn't so bad. Okay, so now we've got parents and carers academic year. So year 10, I think this is probably written this could be really useful, just pausing on this part in terms of, I think there's scale for this if you're a department, and some schools do have it. You got to go into the website there and go and find the relevant things. Or if you're a head of year, I think it'd be really easy to then build out things and then be able to put the information on and just send that one link. So as it says, autumn term, 24th of August. So it's already pre-planned, ready for what's coming up back to school. What families need to know. Information is all there, so that's good. Key dates. So again, you're scrolling up and down. What students, so there's bits that can help as well, different subjects, so you could put in information depending on how you want it to look for yourself. Support with homework. So this one I think has got real, legs, as it were. Noisy out there. This one's got real legs. Like you can see here, quick answers to things. So again, if you know there are certain questions that come back to you as head of department or heads of year, different things, then you can most definitely be using this and filtering through what goes out to parents. Just advice. I think this one's pretty good. I'm impressed with this one. Contact information. And obviously I've just put in this mock-up school of Northbridge. So happy with that. That one was cool. That for me at the moment, of the ones I've built and seeing it on mobile and how it looks and what you can do with it, impressed with that one. Information that can be sent out to parents and students and have that. That one's cool. Okay, next up. Don't ask me why I chose to go with English over science over this, if you're watching enough as a science teacher. This one, again, send it out. Parents can help. It's the revision for Jekyll and Hyde. What I'm looking at now, read the context. So there's help that's there. And obviously each part has then a series of tasks and activities. So just thinking about this one as it goes through, there's lots there, it's twofold for students and for parents. Obviously that's the aim of it. And as with anything, when you build these sites, it's having in mind who's it aimed at. So this is aimed for students first and parents also to support. So for them to be able to work through, does it give them the tasks and applications to be able to do? Yeah, it looks pretty, looks good there. Easy to scroll through. There's 6 different tasks that I can see and ways to go through this. I think one of the key things that I've learned, having been creating HTML lessons for a period of time, and the reason why I got into it is I found it was easier to differentiate and scaffold through that on one part, and kids can click and go. I think the thing with this is it looks great, and obviously the framework to start with, again, is good enough educational, looks good, but is it going to be accessible to the lowest kid in your class? Is it going to help them structure the revision? Because the designs are so good and you're like, oh wow, it's easy to miss key content parts that if you were designing it yourself and building it out yourself, you'd take notice of and go, no, I need this, this, and this. I need to have this. Little Jimmy here needs to be able to access it, and little Sandra here needs this, this, and this. But as with anything, it's easy to miss key points and not read it through properly because you're so blown away by how good the design is, and you just miss these things. So that's my piece of advice on that one. This last one, I think, is going to be really valuable in these upcoming weeks, actually, with international teachers arriving. And I think you'll start to see, if people haven't already, through Canva, in terms of what they used to do. But now with these things, to be able to produce packs, in this case, something that you can have and access on your phone for teachers moving into different countries. So I think this last one is the induction pack. Could be really, really useful. This one looks, again, opens up on the phone all right. And obviously we've got the parts along the top. So I've got starting my induction. So different things that need to get done before day one. So again, you could edit this and put in all the different things between primary, secondary. Maybe, again, this is whole school. If you were departmental, you could look at this and be adding in things for your new science teachers or things for your new English teachers, different things, handbook. So again, you could put the links in to your Google Docs, but again, open access depends what's open access. This is again thinking about it in terms of just safeguarding. Are your documents and policies open access anyway? Most ones are. They're on a lot of schools' websites, but it's other things that you don't add links into this if it's open to everyone and it's behind like your Google Drive or certain things like that. You might be able to, actually thinking fast, like you probably still could do it because you're going to need to have access into the Google Drive anyway. So that's a separate sign-in component. And if the teachers have got the sign-in, it's not too much of an issue. But everything else that's on there, people links. Again, having that information of who to go to and what to do. I think the concept of this is really good. And again, it's just one of those things to think about, right? How do we make sure that, I always go back to data protection, and you have to think about, what's safe, what are you giving people access to within this. So my hot take on those, I can push it to one side and go, right, we can look at it from a security, authenticity, are things safe, accessibility side of things, and that's a conversation that needs to be had. But let's think about this. The way I want to look at this and the way I'm going to analyze this isn't through the technical components, isn't like the conversation that has about governance and safety. That's there. I'm going to park that part. This is the conversation about what it can do and the creating opportunities to reduce friction, creating opportunities to improve workflows and the sharing of information and how that's shared. Because we all know schools have like these structures generally in place. Like some things hide behind logins, some things get lost in PDFs, some things the person on reception is the one who knows all about it. This is about reducing friction, because with these and everything I've showed, and I mentioned it, you can still link to, your packs in your teaching programs, into Google, into Microsoft. You can still link to your website and have these things. You can still link to ticket sales and everything else. You can put those parts in. So it's about, as I said, reducing the friction, and these are being as a front door. And the access they allow in. But for me, the work on the phone, I'm just thinking fast about the types of things you could produce that are providing information for your students and for your parents, for your staff, for your teachers, that they can get access to across their mobile devices, that just provides them with information to make things a lot easier. And for me, these were the 6 that I thought could be of value for teachers when they get back into school, for internationals, with the induction week, for new staff, wherever you are in the world. But they're just there to be exploring. Now, the temptation here is to say, look how quickly a school can build things now. And it's true, but for me, that's actually the smaller point. The bigger point is that schools have spent years forcing simple communication through systems built probably for something else. There is a reasonable objection, which is schools already have platforms. And we know that, of course they do. And this isn't an argument for abandoning them. It's an argument for noticing, well, where do they create unnecessary friction? Now, a class homepage can point into the learning environment. An event page can point to the approved booking system. The site is just the front door. It doesn't have to be your whole building. And these sites won't fix a bad curriculum, and they won't repair a broken behavior system. They won't make a safeguarding problem disappear overnight, but they can give useful information a clear place to live. And for me now, that gap becomes very much closable. So start with something public, small and low stakes. Build it, check every word, check the links and the access settings, then ask a parent and a student whether they can find what they need, and then improve it. So the decision was never which tool, it was what you build around it. And then doing that on your own in the first week of term is really hard. So to help, I'm running 5 evenings in the last week of August. 1 deep pillar a night, 90 minutes each, $10 each. And every session comes with a recording and pack the next morning, whether you make it live or not. The link is in the description below. Now, if this was useful, subscribing is the thing that actually helps. It decides whether the next one reaches somebody who is in the position you were in 10 minutes ago. 2 videos here on the right, and the top one is where most people go next. I'll see you in the next video.